I used to really love being a part of Facebook groups, but over the past few years, I think it's clear to all of us that Facebook groups are pretty much dead. And basically what happened here is COVID, right? In the beginning of COVID, Facebook activity increased, right? But then as the news and everything became more polarizing, Facebook's algorithm really started to work against it. And in my opinion, that, along with a few other factors, are basically what killed Facebook groups. So in this video, what I'm going to share is the replacement to Facebook groups that really gives the same feeling that I used to get when I would engage with Facebook groups, and what's better about it and why it's a better experience. And if you're a business owner, if you have a membership, if you had a free group on Facebook in the past, or even a paid group on Facebook in the past that you were using but that slowed down, this can provide that same experience, only better, and kind of bring back that as a marketing strategy. So before we dive into that, I just want to have you take a look at these Facebook groups here. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. You have some that were active, right, within the past few hours or the past few days, but the great majority of these, right, active 48 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, a couple of them active, I've seen some of these go up and down over the past few weeks. 3 weeks ago, 13 weeks ago, and some of these are groups. This is the thing about this. Some of these are groups that were just absolutely thriving, and in the past they were groups like as you can tell by the number of groups that I'm in, I really enjoyed groups. Like, groups were probably one of my favorite things about Facebook. I loved connecting with people, and I loved interacting with people, and being able to have an opportunity, if like somebody posted a question, I could go in, answer that question, make good connections. Like, some of the best partnerships and client relationships that I've had in my business have come from these groups. Now, I was not one that was like in these groups like some were to like prospect, right? And I think that's a big part of the reason why groups are dropping off a bit, and like why I really think that just Facebook groups in general are dead, is because they became pitch fest, right? As soon as you would get into a group, you would have those people who were in the group and were prospecting in the group, and essentially what they were doing, right, you couldn't comment on anything without getting a DM sales pitch, right? No introduction, no relationship, just like a pitch, right? It made it, and you knew where they were coming from, right? It made it so that you wanted to avoid being in groups. Like, you may just lurk and watch and see like what's going on, but like you knew that if you posted or if you commented, you were going to get pounced on, right? And nobody likes that. We all knew where it was coming from. I think we all got sick of the DMs, and it would have been one thing if people were actually doing it to like build a relationship and connect with people. But that's not what they were doing, right? Those were few and far between. The majority of the messages were just like bulk, blasted out, inundating us with messages that we didn't want. And I know for me, that's why I stopped doing groups. So what I want to share in this video is a platform you may or may not have heard of, developed by Sam Ovens and his team, formerly of Consulting.com, which was recently sold. But they've built this platform called Skool. And I have to say that interacting with Skool groups brings back the nostalgia, I guess you could say, of being involved with Facebook groups. It's all the things that I loved about Facebook groups and none of the things I didn't. Even some of the things within these groups, like if you have messages turned on, like you can turn messages on or off, so that if you're in a group and you don't want to hear from members of that group, like you can just turn off messages from those groups so you're not getting DMs. But what's great about this platform is it's organized so much better than Facebook groups ever were. You're not at the mercy of some algorithm. You don't have this issue of like, I would go on Facebook and I would go in to check a group, and then I would get distracted with something that was not beneficial, right? You can get into these groups, you can see what's going on, you can engage, and there's no distraction because the group is just like centered around one thing, right? And these are really, really versatile, right? You can do things with these groups like you can have free groups, you can have groups that are paid to be a part of. They're used for coaching programs, consulting programs. There's any number of things that you can use these groups for, monthly memberships, annual memberships, anything like that. Like, these are really, really flexible, and the team that's building this is just doing an incredible job of making something that is like everything that you're looking for to create a great experience for you, your clients, your members, however you have this structured, extremely flexible, really great product. So I wanted to share a couple ways with this that you can monetize these groups, and a couple examples of people who are doing so really well without the spammy feel that we get in Facebook groups. And I want to use a couple examples. First, let's do a quick tour of how these groups work, and we'll just use the general Skool community group as an example. So you have your main feed, right, which is just posts that people in the community or admins are posting. If you open up one of these posts, you can see everything's clean, it looks nice, it's easy to see what it's about. You've got features like polls and images that can be uploaded, videos that can be uploaded, and everything in the group is just really, really clean and really organized and intuitive and easy to use. I've set up one of these groups, and some of the members in these groups are older business owners. I've got one member in one of my groups, financial planner. He's been in financial planning for 50 years. He's in his late 70s, and he got into the group and he just knows how everything works. It's very intuitive, and it's just a great experience to be able to look through these posts and be able to easily sort the posts and to see important announcements and engage with those, right? So this is one of the parts where it's very similar to how Facebook used to be. But this is the part that's better, right? This is the part that's like, I can see posts, I can see what's going on in this community without getting distracted. But a couple of the other things that I love about this is, one is the classroom. I'd have to say that the classroom is probably like my favorite feature of these. One, because you can have multiple courses and you can give different access levels to members based on what they've done, how they've interacted, what level they're at on the leaderboards, which we'll talk about that in a minute, how much they're engaging, if they've paid for that course versus it being locked by payment or not. There's all these different ways that you can provide value. And if you look at some of these courses, like you go into a course and it's just really, really it's really clean and easy to navigate, and there's a lot of different features within these groups that make it just a nice experience, right? A couple years ago, Facebook did a thing where they were trying to add something like this into the group, and it just never really took off. Like, you'd put in their course content and things like that, and it just got lost in the shuffle, and nobody ever consumed it, right? This is different. Like, this is a prominent feature where you can add this value to your community and provide them with a lot of value. I've even seen people use this setup for like an internal team, and use this for their standard operating procedures for their team, right? And giving certain members access to certain systems or processes that others don't have access to. So there's just a ton of flexibility here. The other thing is, like, if you have a program where you're doing group calls or breakout sessions or things like that, you can schedule those here in events. Now this group doesn't have any of those. I'll show you one that does, but you can schedule events. Let me show you one. Let's see if this one has one. Yeah. So you can schedule these events where people can, they know the time in the community. They get a reminder of the time that it's happening. They get access, right, and instructions. They can add it to their calendar. Really cool feature. And then you can see what other members are there. If you do want to connect, you can chat with some of them. Some of them have the chat turned off. Again, okay, so there's a couple examples. Like, it's up to you, right? Whereas with Facebook, like, we just didn't have that option. Yeah, you could block people. Yeah, you could, but it was really forced on us. And so I really like how this works. And again, if you do this, like, if you decide to get into one of these groups, like, don't be the person who's ruining it for everybody, right? Just make connections, like, build relationships. That's what this is about. Another cool thing within this is these leaderboards, right? So within the leaderboard, you can see like where you're at and what level you're at, and who else is engaging and how engaged they are. And then what a lot of these groups do is like they'll unlock different levels of courses and different benefits and different bonuses at different levels, which is really cool and makes it really fun. And then for when you're inviting people into the group, they have these nice pages that are basically a page that you can send people to. Let me show you one that's a little bit cleaner. Yeah, here's one, right? So you see like why you should join the group, and this is kind of where you would send people, who were, interested in learning more about why they should join the group. You can send them to a page like this. So a lot of really cool features. So now let's get into a little bit about a couple people who have monetized these groups really successfully, but also like kept a good reputation and kept it as an enjoyable place that people are benefiting from. So the first one here is the synthesizer Skool, and it's by Andrew Kirby. And I think that he's done a really good job of building this group. He initially had like one of the larger groups early on to adopt this. And basically what he did here is he came into the group, he started connecting with people, he started helping people, he started providing them with value and building up his group. He also has a really large YouTube channel. So he was just putting the link to his group in his YouTube descriptions to get people to join and connect with him in the group. And as that grew, people started engaging and people started talking, and he started to add information into the classroom to provide value to members. And he has some really good content, right? So he was just building up value, and including doing things like offering free calls, right, to his members. And so after he had built up the value, what he ended up doing is he just put up a pinned post like these ones that you see here. There was basically just like, hey, I'm opening up this program to work with me. If you're interested, go ahead and apply. And because he had been providing so much value, I want to say that he made like $100,000 on that offer within less than a week, right? And at the time, he didn't have this many members in the group. And so when he did that, like you can see here, he has within here like work with him. But he had provided value, and then all he did was put a pinned post that went out to everybody in the group, and then they had the opportunity to take him up on that offer or not and still enjoy the access to the group. So there's several places within the group here that he can direct people to become his clients, right? He can pin posts. He can put links here in this description. He can, put links to work with them in his classroom section, right? Like right here where he has a free 30-minute call where he could, if it's a good fit, like he could work with somebody and help them and they could become his client. He can do these free accountability calls and people can come to him through those and get help on their business. And if they want more, they can probably chat or, connect with him here in this group. So there's the calls. Also with like the leaderboards, one of the things that I know a few people have done is they've given free strategy sessions to people who are on their their 30-day top 3 leaderboard. And for me, I experienced that I actually spent $9,000 on a course that was, I got the access to the 30-minute, or I think it was a 45-minute call for being in the top 3 on the leaderboard for that month. And it was not a pitch, right? The call was not a pitch. It was all providing me value. And then at the end, it's like, okay, I want the help with that. Like, what do you guys offer to help me with that? And that was a big help. And it was not, there's no pressure. It was just a good experience. And so that's another way that you could monetize these groups, is by offering benefits to people who are, in the 30-day leaderboard, getting them on a call, bring them back to you to make an offer if you both feel that you can help them. So those are a few ways that you can monetize these groups, and how Andrew has monetized his. Another one that I think, as an example, which is a great example, is Brian's group here. Brian runs adspend.com, which is an ad agency specializing in YouTube ads. Really knows the stuff. Like, if you're not following him on social, on YouTube, or even here in this group, this is a free group, you should be. Like, he's the one that I would go to with any questions on YouTube ads. Really, really talented guy. And he's doing a great job of monetizing this group. So if we look at a couple ways that he's doing that, he's providing value within the group, right? So he's providing best practices. He's sharing updates about YouTube ads that you need to be aware of. He's in here answering questions that people have about YouTube ads. Another thing that he's done to provide value, which is a key to making this work, is he has this YouTube ads mini course, right? They have a full course, which is a paid course, but they have this YouTube ads mini course. And if you go into this mini course, this is better than most paid courses. Like, this is really, really good stuff. And so he's, again, provided a lot of value on writing your script, creating your ads. I mean, there's just a lot in here. Scalable offers, funnels that work, VSL frameworks. It's just amazing value that's been provided just for joining the group, right? And I don't think they do events in this one. So they're not using the strategy where they're having people get on a call and making that as a path to them. But they have these posts that they're providing value, and then they have, in this case, right, you can see that you can purchase their course for $1,997, right? So you can do that here through this post that's pinned. And you can see that, like, people are really receptive to this, right? No-brainer offer, right? That's because Brian's provided them with value. And I know that both for this course and for their services, they've made a lot of sales from this group. They've done very, very well from this group. Another way that they have as a return path to their services is, applications to be able to work with them. So just right here on the page, it's just always kind of there as a subtle reminder that, hey, if you want to work with us, here's a path that you would take to do that. This is one of those groups that I've enjoyed being in, and I've enjoyed, like, if I have a question about YouTube ads, this is where I go. And I've just, I know Brian, and he's a really good guy, and he's very focused on providing value. And I think that that's the key to making these work, is that there's several paths that can be taken to monetize one of these groups, whether it's a free group or a paid group where you're ascending people to another level. But the key to all of them is, like, these groups need to be first and foremost as a way to provide value. So, this is a great tool. I'll put some information down. You can set up a 14-day trial. It is an affiliate link. This is a product that I really love and really believe in. And if you have questions about this and, like, how you can use this and strategies that you can use, I'll show you one group that I've been helping to grow, which are some clients of mine here in the Pain-Free Movement group. So they've got 126 members. They have different ways that they're monetizing this group. And this has been a real game changer for them. It provided so much opportunity of things that they can do with this community and this group that they couldn't do with a tool like Kajabi, right, or Facebook groups, or both. So there's a lot of ways to monetize these groups. There's a lot of ways to provide value. And if you have any questions about strategies of how you could market this, how to get members, how to grow and how to convert those people into fans and into clients, just put it in the comments below. I'd love to answer it. Or if you want to see more information like this about marketing strategies to grow your business, to attract clients, and to provide value, then subscribe and see more videos like this on what's working now in the marketing world. Thanks.